So we just covered a lot about lions and integral practice and the binaural addition to integral recovery, which is fantastic. I think it's been transformative for me and for those that I've worked with. And I was going to say something else about that. Oh yeah, and I was thinking about it the other day. And you know, really what I'm asking people to do, it's very simple. I know it sounds very complex, but basically I want you to do this internal practice for 1 hour in the morning, minimum. You can do more if you want. Before you get going. It doesn't seem to work too well if you, well, I'm going to do it in the afternoon because life has a way of just getting very complicated. And these practices are designed to be done by people who live in the modern, postmodern Western world where we have lots of activity. I mean, it's really great if you have a monastic lifestyle and you can do that separate in a spiritual retreat. If you do spiritual retreats, you can ratchet up your practice and meditate for 3 hours a day. Boy, and then this stuff really gets great. It really gives you a powerful nudge in the direction of quicker growth, which I recommend doing on a periodic basis. I certainly do. But you could just have to do this for an hour a day and then do your exercise and your nutrition and your supplements. And as Sean Phillips says, you learn to eat to live and not live to eat. And anyway, I'll talk about the whole nutritional thing later or another time. But what I want to talk about now is a little bit of technology that I've been studying, at least I've been studying the research on for at least a couple of years. And I don't know why, I just never got around to it, maybe because I was so interested in the whole binaural process. But this technology I want to introduce as an addendum and a support and a nudge in the direction, a powerful nudge in the direction of optimal health and integral recovery, is called cranial electrical stimulation. Not to be confused with electroshock therapy, which is a very powerful zap of electricity. And that's not bad. Sometimes it saves people's lives. But what that does is it induces a grand mal seizure, and it kind of reboots the brain, and you know, sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, that's not what this is. This is a very gentle electrical stimulation. It uses a 9-volt battery. I think they first started using this in the very first decade of the 20th century. It's been around for a long time. It's FDA approved. There's at least 118 clinical studies in the United States alone. It's been used extensively in Europe, Eastern Europe, and Russia. And the data just seems to be overwhelmingly positive that it's very effective in treating depression, bipolar, ADD, chronic pain, anxiety, and addiction. Okay, and well, we talked about the binaural meditation, restoring healthy brain chemistry and decreasing the negative ones. Well, this seems to be what this does, and it does it very quickly. And they believe that the organ or the part of the brain that's being affected is the hypothalamus, which is kind of the great regulator of neurochemistry, to include the reptilian brainstem and the amygdala reward system that figures so centrally in addiction and its cravings and compulsions, and it rebalances very quickly. So, but this is about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago I finally got off my duff and ordered this. And this is one version of it. There's several versions, but this is kind of a mid-range, not the cheapest, but definitely not the most expensive. And I'll just use a show and tell thing.
Perfect.
So this particular company is called SOTA, S-O-T-A, and it's out of Canada. And this is the little CES for short, or cranial electrical stimulation device. You can see it here, it has a little switch. There's a button, there's several levels which really don't have anything to do with intensity levels, they're just a little variations on it. But what you do is you clip these little clips onto the frontal part of your earlobe, a little tangled here. Comme ça, and they say if you have like oil, or you want to kind of clean your ears off because it kind of helps the conductivity if you have oily skin, or you put cream on your face or something like that. And you can kind of wet these things here, and it helps the conductivity a bit. And you clip it on, and you turn this puppy on, and you can regulate this. And here I'm on the first level, and I just start cranking it up, and I start feeling a gentle tingling into my earlobes. And you can, it says it even works even if you can't feel it, if it's below the kind of the sensate level. But if you want to crank it up, and I could really crank it up, and it would be to the point where it'd get uncomfortable. But you just do it where you can gently feel it tingling in your ears. And this lasts for 20 minutes a session, then it cuts off automatically. And then you do another one. You're recommended to start out with doing 40 minutes for the first month. And what a day, 40 minutes. But what I have done, because you know I'm already doing an hour, at minimum hour meditation in the morning, I'll just clip it on my ears when I'm doing my binaural meditation. So people walk in, they think I'm really weird. Not that they already don't, but that allows me to do it simultaneously. And most of the people that I've that have used this and I've worked with, immediately, almost the first time, start just feeling better. And sometimes they think, maybe it's because I'm just with you, John, that I feel better. And they haven't really ever said that. But anyway, they notice almost an immediate lift of their spirits, and they start feeling good. And what happens if you have somebody that's going through withdrawals from alcohol or heroin, and there's, you know, and the withdrawals are caused because the brain has been depleted of its natural supplies of dopamine and serotonin, like you already spent your bank account. And these other drugs of abuse and addiction are replicating the functions of these natural chemicals in your brain. And because you keep dosing yourself with these things, the brain begins to withdraw its receptor sites, and so you have to use more and more to get well. So when you take the drugs away, you don't have any dopamine and serotonin left, and your norepinephrine is all spiked. You have anxiety and you feel like crap because your feel-good neurochemicals are gone, and it takes the brain a while to get back, and that's what withdrawals is about. Well, you clip these things on your ear when people start going through withdrawals, and it just goes away. They just feel good. Okay? So it is almost, it seems to be a very, very quick way to establish, reestablish healthy neurochemical balance in the brain. Now, what I don't find is that, well, you know, and there actually seems to be a lot of very positive personality transformation that goes on with just using this particular practice. People more assertive, happier with themselves, goes on. I don't notice that it causes kind of the deep spiritual insights and stuff that you get from a binaural type of meditation or the deep emotional release, but it does seem to reestablish healthy brain chemistry very quickly.
Can you do this when you're doing anything else? Like
they say not to do it when you're driving, but yeah, you can basically, it's kind of a sissy practice, because you can be reading a book or something like that, you know, and just do it. You don't have to be sitting, you know, in a full lotus posture.
So it's totally easy.
It's totally easy. It's cool. So, and you just start feeling better. And I was reading Michael Hutchinson's book, who wrote the really classic in this field called Mega Brain, published in, I believe, 1990. It's like almost 20 years old. The guy was so ahead of his time. God bless you, Michael. But anyway, the passage I read from his book, he said he put these things on and he went, almost immediately said, oh my God, is this how you're supposed to feel? There's a sense of well-being and sense of feeling really good. So in integral recovery, we have this, and it's been used as a support for antidepressants, in addition to, or as a replacement for antidepressant drugs. Now I want to get on a rant here about the pharmaceutical industry and whatnot. That's not where I'm going with this, but it is definitely, it should be considered probably as an option of first choice, let me put it that way. There are no known negative side effects, okay? And it's not like you can fry your brain. So it's almost, it's impossible to abuse, because what seems to happen is once your optimal brain chemistry balance has been restored, it just stays there. So you could, if you use it 40 minutes, you'll get it, but if you use it 2 hours, it won't get any better. And once balanced, you know, there's nothing
so you can't
beyond balance. Yeah, you can't abuse it.